Hello and welcome. Y'all, I have a message for you today. I just want to encourage you if you feel like you have been ready to throw in the towel lately, or maybe you find yourself dialing back based on what you know you need to do or what you desire to see. This message is for you. My prayer is that it encourages you. I usually take a quick break for y'all to go grab the message today, but I don't have a lot of time to record it this to you today to share this. So I want you to just go ahead and jump in with me. And I just want to just kind of talk to you all today because I know many of you may have found yourself in a place where it seems like no matter what you're doing, you're not exactly where you believe you have the ability to be. And usually, when we come into that place, sometimes we might believe we could be further along because we're looking at where someone else is. Maybe you're seeing other people celebrating, you're seeing other people prospering, and you're wondering, well, why are they prospering? Why are they doing so well and I'm not? Most of us won't admit this out loud, but it's a thought that can come up where you're seeing other people look like they're further ahead. Or maybe you feel like you're trying to do everything you know to do. You're doing your best, you're trying your hardest, and you still don't see the results. And maybe the results are specific. Maybe it has nothing to do with what someone else has done, but you've laid out specific goals for yourself. You've laid out specific milestones or check marks, and you feel like you're not hitting them in the time frame that you thought you would hit them. I want to share this message because for many of you that are watching me right now, you are so close to your next phase of celebration. And usually when we see others around us celebrating, it's indicative of where God is taking you. And this isn't one of those where people, want to get you hyped up, like just wait for the next, forget the now, because I also believe that in every season, God has given us the ability to find joy, to have peace, to have gratitude, to be thankful in whatever that season is, whether you're preparing for some level of increase or not. And that's what I want to talk about with you all today because this past week, and actually the past several weeks, I've had several people reach out to me celebrating. And I mean, it's gotten to the point that every time I connect with someone, I already know we about to be screaming. Like we are about to be screaming because of the excitement. And I think it's so amazing that people feel like I'm like that people feel enough of me to like want to tell me when things are happening for them because they know we are about to celebrate. I don't even want to get into all the details of some of the things, but it's just been so incredible. And mainly I don't want to get into details because I don't want to put other people's business out there. But I'm talking about licensing coming through, passing tests, being promoted, sitting amongst top officials in the nation, sitting amongst top officials, doors opening, so many exciting things. And as I was thinking about this, people just being established, that I talked about that at the beginning of the year, that this is a season of establishment and this is a time of celebration. And I know that there are many of you that maybe you're seeing so many people around you, they're celebrating, they're seeing new heights, and you might feel like you are not moving fast enough, or you feel like you're close, but you're ready to give up, or you're ready to throw in the towel. Some of you, maybe you're not even ready to throw in the towel, but you're taking steps backwards. You're kind of slowing down on what you know you need to do because you're feeling like and we all can relate at some point. Sometimes we can feel like because of the thoughts that we've had, like maybe you had a thought that you're not good enough, or a thought that you're not moving quick enough, or a thought that whatever those thoughts can be, we can allow those thoughts to define what we're allowed to do. But understand this, the thoughts are going to come. In fact, we hear and there are many verses that reference this, that talks about renewing your mind, and many tips that people will give you about casting down those thoughts and not entertaining it. But I want to share with you all today that those thoughts that you've had, whether it's of not being good enough, or thoughts that you've missed your opportunity, or anything that is not in alignment with, I would say, what I believe that's not in alignment with where God has called you to be, what God says about you, those thoughts cannot stop you from being where you need to be. It's time that we stand up and start countering those things. And for me, what that looks like is speaking what God's word says about my life. Now, I am so excited. I get to work with some amazing people. I'll probably share this person's info that talks about even like the mindset and the way that our brain even processes some of these thoughts and these things that we align ourselves with. And it's also important that we understand that just because you think a thing, just because you feel challenged in an area, that doesn't define what you're capable of doing. And the reason I want to share that with you today is because I hope that you can move beyond whatever limitations you woke up this morning with, whatever limitations that maybe you don't have today, but you're nervous that they might come back in a few weeks. My hope is that you realize that you are in a season of establishment and that it's time to celebrate. If you're seeing everyone around you being elevated, if you're seeing people around you being rewarded, if you're seeing people around you see all of these things that they've wanted and desired, or these things that they have set out to achieve, if you're seeing these achievements roll in, this is a season of celebration. And I'm not going to get cliche where y'all, if you've heard that quote, if God is blessing your neighbor, that means he's in the neighborhood. Like, I've heard that one. But what I want to encourage you of today is Joshua 1. And it talks about where we find our success. Joshua 1:7, it says, be strong and very courageous. And this is God talking to Joshua. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. That you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And it's so powerful, because sometimes we can think that we need to do these things in our own might. Literally, when God was speaking to Joshua about obeying his word, following the instructions, carrying out literally the strategic plan that he had given Joshua, he says, I'm going to be with you. And sometimes we can get into this place where we try to do all the heavy lifting on our own, where we feel like we have to have all the answers. We have to carry it out on our own. And that's the way that we're going to get success, when God is literally teaming up with Joshua. God is literally leading him and saying, I'm going to be with you. And so for many of you, while you're being exposed to the success of others and you're seeing what other people are doing, I hope that that is igniting a fire in you to get excited, because we are stepping into establishment. And the worst thing that we can do in this time is to get distracted, to look to the left, to look to the right. And even as he's talking about that, that may look like the comparisons. You may look to the left to see what someone else is doing, and now you're comparing what God is trying to do through you. Joshua didn't have time to look to the left. He could have been trying to look at what Moses was able to accomplish and all these things. But when God is calling you to something, that is the path that you are meant to be on. And looking to the left and looking to the right, that's also looking at other people's opinions, worrying about who believes in God and who doesn't, worrying about who trusts the vision that God's given you and who doesn't, worrying about all these things, when more often than not, you're looking at people that you probably wouldn't even want to trade places with them in the first place. You don't want their life. They don't want your life. So I just want to encourage you all today. If you're seeing adversity come up, if you're seeing challenges come up, if you've been challenged in your thinking, or if you're thinking that just because a thought has come up that you used to have, that now you're a prisoner to that thought, you're not. Because now you're in a place where you're more aware of the things that will come up to try to discourage you. By the time that Joshua was receiving these instructions, they had already been in the wilderness for years, for decades. So the same stuff that was tripping them up that first time, just because it's presenting itself again, it doesn't mean it has the ability to take you out. It's not going to stop you. It didn't stop them at this point from inheriting the promise. It didn't stop them from walking in the vision that they had been given. Both Joshua and Caleb, they believed that vision. And I really want to encourage you all today that just because those challenges are representing themselves, just because these things are coming back up, this is a time that is not going to take you out. It doesn't have the power to stop you from crossing into that promise. It doesn't. And the fact that you're aware of it, it's not an indication to quit. It's not an indication for you to throw in the towel. It's literally something to celebrate. And the reason it's something to celebrate, it's because now you can do something about your awareness of this thing coming up. In times past, whenever these thoughts of a lack, or thoughts of inadequacy, thoughts of I'm not good enough, or this person's doing it better, this person's going faster. Now, in the past, that might have kept you circling those same mountains. Times past, that would have probably gotten you to quit. But guess what? It's a new you. It's a new you this season. Those things, they're not going to trip you up. And then this isn't an age thing either. This isn't it wasn't about age. Joshua was younger than Moses. It wasn't about age. But I wanted to mention that. I don't know who that encourages, but it doesn't even matter. It's not about, well, someone at this age, they can't make it into the promise because they haven't had enough seasons. When you have been obedient enough, like God told Joshua there, I'm giving you the instructions for your success. There's no limit to that. It's whosoever will trust God for that type of success. Whoever is willing to trust God and allow themselves to line up with the strategy that God is giving you. That's open and available to anyone that is ready to walk in it. There's no limitations on that. And that's my encouragement. I'm just go ahead and wrap this message. That's my encouragement to you today. So start celebrate in advance. Even if you're seeing evidence of something that's not what you are expecting. Yes, there might be challenges. Even when Joshua, again, I'll hone in on this as I wrap, as he was getting ready to cross over, he was already warned there's going to be giants in the land, and all of our giants are different. There are things that may try to come up and convince you otherwise, convince you that you're on the wrong path, or convince you that whatever it may try to convince you of. But today, I'm telling you all right now, especially those of you who this message is for, I know much of it is for me. Much of this is for me right now. I'm feeling like, whew, I hadn't planned on coming on today with this message, but I'm actually having to switch out another message I had planned to share. It's because so many of us are at the brink of establishment. Understand this, and I think about Joseph as an example. I'm gonna share this. I'm not gonna feel rushed because I was about to hop off, but this too, when Joseph was elevated to second in command from that vision that he had been given, when he got there, you could pretty much put comma and he lived happily ever after. When the vision that he had been given was established, he was established, like at the end of it, like he was established. It took a lot. He had to go through a lot of adversity. In fact, the worst adversity that he went through was right on the brink of his elevation. He didn't know at one point while he was sitting in prison that he was only days away from being elevated to second in command over an entire nation. He didn't know that. And many of you are days away from that point of elevation that you're going to be able to give back. You're going to be able to create legacy for your lineage. There are generations to come that are going to be blessed by your decision today that you're not going to throw in the towel, by your decision today that you're going to keep showing up, by your decision today that even if the thoughts come, even if similar challenges come your way, even if similar obstacles try to come to convince you to quit, to convince you to just say, forget it, you're going to overcome it. And this may be the very time, much like when Joseph came out of that prison, that your elevation happens. Because understand that there was a time where he faced adversity before he was in the pit. He came out of the pit, but he didn't come out of the pit into that level of greatness. It was when he went into Potiphar's house. Y'all read the story. I'll put a link or something. I'll try to remember. Read the story of Joseph because this is a good one too. But when his first glimpse of adversity was being in that pit. And then from there, he was elevated into Potiphar's house. So it looked like, all right, well, shoot, I've arrived, right? But then, nope, he gets falsely accused and ends up right back in prison. For some of you, you may have gone through those challenges and then it seemed like, all right, things are going good. But then, boom, right back into that place of adversity. But this time, for so many of you, it's going to be like what Joseph experienced. When he came up out of that prison, it was a wrap. Like it was, again, you could say comma, and you can't really say it. You won't want to read the rest of the story for yourself to know what he experienced, but it was like and he lived happily ever after. It was from that point that he was able to start establishing legacy for his children, legacy for his siblings, continuing the legacy of his father from that elevation. And so that's why the challenges come. That's why they come. It comes to get us to quit, to get us to say, like, to question, did you hear God right? Did you get the vision right? Other people are out here doing whatever they want to do, and it seems like they're elevating. Why are they seeing this elevation? Right? Sometimes those are the questions we can ask, like, God, they don't even care about you. They don't even believe you exist. And it looks like they're out here. Joseph could have said the same. The brothers that threw him in the pit, they're back at home eating good and chilling. And it looks like they're thriving. And it's not that you want to see other people not thrive, but if he could have, in that moment, it would have looked like nothing good was going to come out of his life. It looked like other people were prospering and being elevated ahead of him, when the very people that had been elevated ahead of him, he soon was going to be the one that they needed help from. And that's an encouragement for some of you too, where it looks like there are people that have literally thrown you in the pit, walked away from you, didn't support you, those people at some point, your heart is going to be in such a place that you'll be able to help the very people that try to tear you down. So I'm that's it for real now. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this message because I have to hop off. I hope this encouraged you. If it did, tell someone, tag someone. You can stay connected with me. You see it going down there at Erica Empowers across social media. If you are someone, if you have a message and you're ready to start sharing it, I help powerhouse women around the world literally turn their message into a movement. I have a group right now. We have a few thousand women in this group that are standing on their story. They're stepping out. They're getting tools. They're getting support to get clarity around that vision so they can show up and have accountability so that, yes, everyone may be soaring in this area or that area, but we're more concerned about where do you need to be in this season. So if you want to be a part of that community, you can go to increaseyourvoice.com, increaseyourvoice.com to get your starter kit. It's going to get you plugged into the community where we it's just a great place to get support, but then also to get locked into the events that I have coming up where I'm helping you in the areas of PR, media, and marketing your message, as well as honing in on your story. So that's it, y'all. If this encouraged you, tag someone, tell someone. That's the best way that you can support. If you're watching me now in a place where you can either subscribe or follow, that's another awesome way to support here. And that's it. That's our message for y'all. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.